Yeah, I want to get onto some more of healing and immunity experiments, immunity boosting experiments I'm doing. A lot of my studies now have been directed more towards Hulda Clark's works. Actually, at first, I did not really look at her stuff too much, more further than just looking at some of her videos. But actually, you really got to read her books. And I'm not selling her books or anything. Some of her books I think are available free online. One of the things that turned me off most about her in the beginning was, the cure for all disease, and I use that big word, cure. That's a pretty damn strong word, right? But she does have a lot of documented work. In other words, blood tests, results, the whole 9 yards, the way they do things in the conventional medical community to prove that, hey, she really did do something very, very constructive, even if the word cure is a little bit too strong, right? But, actually that's very tough to say because sometimes in biology you really can't prove anything ironclad, It's like one of those deals where, effectively, for all practical purposes, you're cured. How's that? Anyway, but I've been experimenting with this device now. It's the Parazapper My Plus. Now, I know Hulda Clark had a zapper. It's not bad. And she came up with the idea about the positive offset. Now, I want to get into this right from the beginning, like what she said. And it kind of like goes against, or not goes against, it's like it's not the whole part of the story, because on the internet, you can see these snippets of things she says about using a zapper, which is an electronic device, using handhelds to try to knock out parasites or microbes and worms or whatever it is in the body. And some people think it's snake oil, but it's not. I don't think it is at all. And I'm trying to be very thorough about how I really go about, putting out these videos. And I'm going to have to reference other videos that I did. And I'm not going to use the word cure. I'm not going to flat out say this guaranteed to work. But I think she's really onto something here. This is one of her statements out of her books. I kind of like picked out, I kind of like just took sentences out of it, but key phrases. She was talking about with her zapper. The voltage has to go like from a little bit above zero to about 9.5, 10 volts. And the frequency, up and down, up and down. In other words, it makes sense in this way is that parasites have a slight positive electrical charge. That's their nature. Parasites and cancerous cells. They are also acidic. Actually, when you're using a pH, and you're talking about electricity and pH, acidic has a slight positive charge. That's like the battery in your car, right? That's very acidic, Now, the normal cells in your body are slightly alkaline and have a very slight negative charge. So what she's doing here is she's pulsing positive electricity on the body with a zapper. They call it a zapper, but it goes from just a hair above zero to like 9.5, 10 volts, and it uses a frequency. Now, she says she realizes the frequency is important, but the most important thing is that it only goes positive and never goes negative. Because if it goes negative, you can see where I have it highlighted in light blue here in bold letters of red. If the varying voltage becomes negative, even for a short period of time, it supports and maintains the lives of the bad microbes and parasites. So, she said, though, also that the positive works as, well, she didn't quite say it here, but it works almost like a battery charger for your blood cells, including your white blood cells. And what happens is, for a time, now that's the thing, I don't understand exactly how long this effect occurs, but it's probably a very, very short time. It's like, you're looking at these key phrases, for a time. I can't look at this under a microscope and give you a good scientific analysis, but I think she's onto something that's like a major, major scientific medical discovery that she made that is not really being told to the world as much as it should be. I think this is absolutely correct. I know somebody's going to say, what do you mean you think? Well, I'm going to tell you right now that people who talk very, very cute and they give you all the graphs and all that type of stuff and they tell you got all the answers, a lot of those are liars. A lot of them are. A lot of them are. And, you know, it's like I am doing this on my own, more, you know, alone as a researcher. But I have to tell you that I think she is definitely onto something with this, because I saw some ridiculously good results in documented work that she published in her books that I bought. And she names the patients, she names the blood work, and I was like, wow. You know, this lady did do something. The zapping is one part of it. But here's one thing I want to point out. She says that for a time, your white blood cells will turn into super white blood cells in spite of, you know, the PCBs, the metals, and all the toxins, and asbestos, and benzene, and everything else that's affecting your immune system. Because, she's not stating it here, but because that positive offset is working like an electron donor, and it's giving it a little more of a battery charge, it's actually affecting it has to be affecting the alkalinity of the cells itself. It has to be actually making them slightly more alkaline for a very short period of time when you're using positive offset. It has to be. It has to be. Because by definition, if you're charging up a battery towards negative, a little bit more towards negative voltage, which is our normal voltage of our body, you're actually making it more alkaline. As a matter of fact, an athlete has a better negative battery charge in their cells than an average person. A well-trained athlete that has like good nutritious food will have a better battery charge. So possibly you could be doing this. I'm pretty damn sure of this. You know, some people criticize me for saying pretty damn sure because I freaking can't flat out prove it with, you know, millions of dollars of studies here. But I'm trying to give you accurate information without, you know, flat out staying. I noticed with my multi-million-dollar study. But here's another key phrase to what she said, and this is one of the points of the video. She recommends that you do 8 hours, a full 8 hours of zapping a day until you're well. 8 hours. Wow, how the hell are you going to do that? I mean, I guess you could probably zap at night with some novel method, but that's what I want to get into. I went over some other videos, and actually I put this out yesterday. It was March 12th, Thursday, 2015. Easiest way to use a Rife contact mode. I use some of these, they call them like paddles. I ordered them from Parasite, and they arrived, and I'm trying them out. And I hooked them up, and I kind of showed how I did it. Now, I just want to say that so far, I'm going to take these off pretty soon, but so far I've been using them over 25 hours straight. I says, wow, no problem. And I've been applying the voltage. I've been keeping the contacts wet with saline solution so the electricity goes through the body. It's a 4-point system, 3 points positive. I'll probably have to explain that in another video I did over here. I'm going to point to the links on this and probably just put the links up there on the end of this video so you can look at them or whatever. I'll have them in the information box and in the comments. And this is kind of like when I was experimenting with it before July 25th, 2014, and I was using an extreme zapper, not a bad basic zapper, but the zapper I got now is like heads and shoulders above anything else. I'm going to keep this extreme as a backup, of course, but the zapper I'm using today is heads and shoulders above anything else. I'm actually using this, the My Zapper Plus, which has 122 accurate frequencies. Accuracy is very important. Now, if you're off 1%, it may still even have some effect, but this is within the parameters that Royal Rife talked about, which was being off, then you got to be off less than a 20th of a percent, I believe it was. I believe it was 20th of a percent. It was 0.05%. is what it had to be. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, it was a 20th of a percent. It was 0.05%. You got to be within that accuracy for it to work well. Now, the limitations of the zapper is it doesn't quite get every area of the body, but it does get a lot of areas if you're using the 4-point contact system. The theory is that it should help enough to assist the body to eliminate microbes. And I was running through all these frequencies. As a matter of fact, like they are listed up here, Rife Mode 1, Rife Mode 2, Rife antibacterial, antifungal mode. I mean, I was just nailing all kinds of them. Antiviral, antifungal. I don't know what this one was, my mode 7. I don't know if I used that one. I used to use this Clark mode a lot on other ones, MX mode, mix mode, all kinds of modes here. Actually, I even went over this one the other day with the immunovirus mode and stuff. Actually, this would be a good one for people who have HIV. Maybe you want to try this mode. I talked about that before. And you want to try it a long, long period of time because the key phrase is for a time your white blood cells turn to super white blood cells. Now, the one thing is you cannot zap the area of the brain, right? That's one limitation. You cannot do that, right? You can't, there's other special devices for it. This is not for that. You don't ever put any kind of electricity through the brain unless it's totally specifically designed for that. But the one thing is, some people say, well, how do you say you had a problem with an inoperable? Now, I don't want to put this out as a fact, but let me put it out to you as a suggestion. If you had a problem with an inoperable brain cancer, along with everything else you can try, I would suggest this. But what she's saying here is for a time your white blood cells turn into super white blood cells. The white blood cells go everywhere. They go through the blood-brain barrier and everything. I would think that if your white blood cells got charged up into super white blood cells temporarily, that this could possibly help with inoperable brain cancer. I wouldn't use it as the crutch. I'm just telling you, it's let me put it this way. I don't sell a device or nothing like that, but even if you want to try the Parasapper 6-pack, that thing is like a little over $100 or something like that. It's like not a commercial here, but I'm just looking. I looked around at the prices. He blows away the competition to the max. Even that Parasapper 6-pack has 14 frequencies that are pretty damn accurate compared to the competition. But the Mind Plus is very accurate, and it has 122 frequencies. But she says it recommends 8 hours of zapping a day, which I'm thinking is, and I know some people say, well, you're thinking, I don't know, because she didn't specifically write this, but I got to pick out her key phrases. For a time. In other words, a short period of time, your white blood cells turn into super white blood cells, and she's telling you to zap 8 hours a day. Maybe this effect is only occurring while you're zapping, period. So maybe if you could zap 12 hours a day or 14 hours a day or more, that might be better. And the only method I know how to do that is not with these foot plates, as I'm showing here in this other video, but with these ankle and wrist armband things or wristband things that I was showing in this video yesterday, which was the easiest way to use the Rife quote-unquote contact mode. Now, I call this Rife because they're not exactly the original McCoy Rife. He used different frequencies back in the 30s. That was the guy that actually cured as proven by the best medical doctors and experts at the time in the 1930s with a special device that used, I think it was like a plasma ray or radio frequencies. I'm not even 100% sure of the technology. But the thing is, John Crane, which was Royal Rife's assistant, he came up with this pad-type contact device method because he thought it would be more acceptable to the conventional medical community, which is very conservative. The medical community does not change very quickly. As a matter of fact, I could tell you, it took them like 100 years before, of people dying of scurvy when they first initially thought vitamin C was going to cure scurvy, before they really figured it out. They're that damned conservative, which is freaking pretty bad. Not all of them are. But sometimes conservative is good because you don't want to be, changing the wheel when the wheel works and that type of stuff. I mean, their medicines do work. And a lot of times, medicines work better upon the skill of the doctor, because you hear all this stuff about chemotherapy being really bad, but chemotherapy could be really good if it's targeted chemotherapy, and also if it's balanced exactly right with what the patient needs, which is the skill of the doctor, right? Now, actually, this type of technology should be embraced by doctors and be done more with professionals, where the skill of the doctors can evaluate the exact frequencies, the exact voltages, the exact times, and also, do the measurements on a body and say, hey, this is what needs to be done. Now, these are my videos I'm showing here, right? This was the Rife Crane Healing Frequencies explained. Now, actually, I'm not even 100% sure if, because there's, various opinions on stuff about duty cycles, if the duty cycle of the wave has to be 50%. Hulda Clark said 50%. Okay? There's other people that say it should be different duty cycles because of the harmonics. But then, I don't know. There's other people that say the 50% gives you all the harmonics. And, that may be true, because Hulda Clark is not the only one that only uses a 50% duty cycle in this research. But I wanted to point out in this video, because a lot of people were wondering, where are these frequencies coming from that are on a consolidated annotated frequency list, the main ones? Where are they coming from? A lot of them initially came from research from John Crane, who was Royal Rife's assistant. He used divisors of the original Rife frequencies to come up with new frequencies that were like a divisor. In other words, he divide by, this one was 417,000, which is the original Rife frequency up here. I'm showing B. coli rod form. I don't want to go over this whole video because I went over everything before in this video, but I want to point where the link is. And he divided it by 521 to come up with 800. He was trying to hide his work, how he came up with this. He was using random divisors. That's one of the problems with a lot of this stuff, because a lot of this work can't be patented, and that's probably one of the problems with the medical community won't like about it, because once this stuff really gets figured out, somebody can get a cheap program and a PDF file and some zappers and probably knock out a lot of medicines, and they'll be out of a job. But the problem is that doesn't really happen, because what happens is people just live longer, and people are just productive longer, which actually, if they're be productive longer in your older years, and are very vibrant and experienced, and they have a lot of know-how, and it actually helps the economy, right? Think of it that way. And then eventually they're going to get old anyway, and the doctors are still going to have plenty of business. So, it don't matter, right? I just want to put it to you that way. It may be initially a threat to their business, but it won't be in the long term. But actually, in the short term, it could be a major boon to the economy, because if people have a lot of experience and know-how, and they start getting older and they're less vibrant and they can't work, or they're not productive, well, they're out of the economy, right? They're retired people, right? Well, if they're productive and they're freaking going like gangbusters because they feel like a 20-year-old and they're 80, well, guess what? they're contributing to the GDP, right? Hey, so there you go. So I use this damn thing for this Parazap damn thing. this device. I use this for now it's probably closer to 26 hours straight. I'm going to take it off here and take a shower and stuff. And I'm going to be using it about 12 hours a day, because I think one of the best things about it, besides having all these great frequencies, which are the most commonly used ones. I mean, I was going through all these modes just about. I think I hit all of them. I hit most of them. And I said, wow, this is cool. Hey, a new toy, right? What the hell can I say, man? I don't know. No, but I've been zapping for years. And I think that Hulda Clark has been far more accurate than Bob Beck, and by miles. They both use the cure word, but only one of them produced, published, and you can look it up and buy it or get it even for free. Accurate, documented medical results of the work that was done. Whereas Bob Beck, I didn't see nothing. I think his device does do some things, but the real one that was the one that really, did the best work was Hulda Clark. Now, I think the Parazapper is taking it a couple steps more, because what's going on here, he's taking the work that John Crane did, plus the work of the Rife researchers that have came after John Crane, and he's not putting in the frequencies that are a little bit. From the best knowledge that we know as laymen, and not that I put the frequencies in, or just I'm saying in general that, the people that experiment with this, and when I say we, the best knowledge that is known, what are the best frequencies to use that are typically used to try to address different situations, that's all incorporated in this device. There's 122 very accurate frequencies, and it does include every single one of them is positive offset. And my point on this video is that this 8-hour key, this key's phrase about 8 hours of zapping, that is like, under the traditional way, is almost impossible to do unless you're really not doing anything except zapping. But set up the way I was showing yesterday in the video, it's fine. I had no problem with that deal. None whatsoever. I was out there doing things outside, had the zappers on and everything else, and I was like, this ain't so bad, man. I can hang with this, you know what I mean? Whereas before, you had to have your feet on the foot plates, you had to have you were just, tied to the machine. I was like, I was using these foot plates like this on the ground. I was like, I can't do this too long, But the other way I was talking about, that works, and I think that's the key, because what you see floating around on the internet a lot is Hulda Clark talking about zapping for 7 minutes, then stopping, taking some herbs, zapping for 7 minutes. I don't think that's, well, she's saying other things in other situations, and I don't want to make it look like she didn't know what she's talking about. She does know what she's talking about. She probably doesn't know every damn thing there is to know about everything. I'm sure of that situation, but she mainly does know a lot more than the conventional medical community is giving her credit for. And this very, 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 I just got to emphasize the hell out of this. I'm sorry, some people say you're repeating yourself, because I really want to drive this point home. 8 hours for a time. I don't know how long this time is, but it could be a very short time. It may be only during the time that you're zapping. Your white blood cells turn into super white blood cells. So not only is the frequency helping in situations, but that key phrase is you want to zap for a very long time. I do like this Parazapper a lot because, I'm going to say something else about this product too. They got more complicated products out there that are a lot more money. But you know what? I don't know how durable they are. And the other thing is they're not portable. The other thing is maybe you can even get like a frequency generator or something. That's the same thing. But then you got to, dial it in the numbers, or you got to have a computer to tell the frequency generator what to do or whatever, right? And it has to be plugged in a wall. This whole device is portable. It's like very good for people. There's some stuff you got to like kind of know, but not that much. It's not very technical, and that's one of the things that's good about it, because a lot of people get scared by the technology. The other thing is you got other things like the GP4000. That's like a real Rife machine. Like I'm calling this Rife, quote unquote. They're actually the John Crane pad type Rife frequencies, quote unquote. But the true Rife machine, or the closest one, is maybe the GP4000, thousands of dollars. But how long could you run that thing for without burning something out? And how much is that going to cost you? Now, I was thinking is, what I use in this device, I want to even say in this video, I use these batteries by, they're 9.6 volt rechargeable batteries. They're made for like, electronics that need more power or something, because your typical rechargeable battery is an 8.4 volt battery, and they don't last that long. And if you're going to use Duracells or Energizers or Rayovacs, it's costing you, I don't know, $5 or $4 a pop every time. That can add up if you're doing this every day. Even if it's costing you $3 a day, that's $90 a month. I get I don't know what some are Power Up. I don't know. One of them was like Spider, and one was like Tenergy. One was Titanium. Titanium was another brand of battery. I'm not selling this or nothing. I'm just telling you that's what I did. Titanium was one of the ones I liked the best. It was 260 milliamps. It's a very strong battery. It kind of fits in the compartment kind of tight because of the foam, once the foam crushes down. But, in other words, you can recharge that 500 times. So one battery is going to last you more than a year, So, and this device has a 5-year manufacturer warranty, and it's an American company made in the USA, and you're dealing with somebody right here in the United States. So, but I think the whole key to this thing really working is the longevity of how long you're going to use it. And the problem is before, how do you do that? But I liked using those ankle bands and stuff and whatever. So, but that makes it much more convenient to do. So, maybe it is the cure. Maybe it is. Maybe it is the cure for like a lot of stuff. And it's a matter of just really applying it as much as possible, because the zapping technology in electronics has gotten far, far better than when Hulda Clark was alive, and I wish she was still alive. I know some people say she died from cancer. Actually, it was anemia. They assume it was cancer. But you have to remember this. Why did a lot of doctors die earlier deaths than most of the common population? That's a fact. Most doctors die earlier deaths than the common population. It's not because they don't know what they're doing. It's because they're working with patients with diseases and cancers, and just like Hulda Clark was, and you are susceptible to what they had, even though you're being careful. So even though she wasn't a medical doctor, she was a PhD and a biologist, I think it was. But, her knowledge and her work was by the book of conventional medicine, because she did use blood work and she documented the hell out of her work. You actually got to read the books rather than just look at YouTube. So it's like, I'm telling you this on YouTube, but I got to tell you that, you're not getting a whole message. You're not getting a whole message. But I just want to point out some snippets about her work about this. How long you really got to zap to make it really work. So, if you're combining all this stuff where you got the right frequencies, they're very accurate. You're using a high quality device. You're using a rechargeable battery that can put out a good amount of electricity and can be recharged 500 times. You're using a device that's made in the USA. It's very cost effective. It's very durable. It's very portable. And you got a method that you can actually zap 8 hours a day with the 4-point system. Hey, you might be onto some things that are, miracles. And I just hope the medical community doesn't consider this a threat, because you're just going to have a lot more old people to deal with later on. You know what I mean? So eventually you're going to have problems. So you might not have problems till they're like 100, but you're gonna have business later. So you just have to make sure you stay alive longer later. So you'll be around long enough to treat those people. So maybe you need to zap too, there, Mr. Doctor and Miss Doctor. So how's that for a thought to leave you with?